All right, welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. Thanks for being here tonight. Got some people live, got some people talking about listening in later. That's why we record these things. Heidi Rendina just told a story, and she doesn't realize my favorite part of the story was, and then we picked up a transmission for my son, right? Just like it was nothing, we're gonna grab that transmission and bring it on home. I love that.
Yeah, because he loves to play with cars and he pays cash for all his cars. And he sold Rob Bailey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I sold
his
them
last
their
car.
car.
Yeah.
But I just love, Heidi, that as his mom, you're picking up the transmission and bringing it to town. So that's my style. That's something that my wife would do. So anyways, speaking of the topic for tonight, adversity. So Heidi's in real estate. She works for Real. She's on the east side of the state, so we'll give her that. And there's some adversity for you: transmissions, real estate, and physical fitness training. That's what you get with the syndicate, right? A little bit of everything. Good job. All right, so we're going to talk about adversity and competition, and there's some subset categories to that, which is accepting, embracing, and overcoming. I love this category. I love this discussion. And I'm not going to go super deep on a bunch of stuff, but what I love about this, and it's a line that I used to say when I was at Kettle One Vodka. I also said it when I started my tequila company. Back in the day at Kettle One Vodka, when I started there, our biggest competition was Absolute and Grey Goose. And those guys were the big dogs on the street. Stolichnaya was also out, but not as big as the other guys. Absolute Vodka was crushing the game with their marketing program. They were doing all these great advertisements where the bottle was like an IV thing or pieces of art. I mean, it was the coolest thing ever when it came to marketing. And people thought, you guys are out of your mind trying to get into the vodka space. What are you thinking? Right? And so that's the competition talking. They don't want us there. But you know what? We weren't out of our mind because we had a plan. And what was interesting about Kettle One and the plan that we had is it was very similar, in my mind, to my days working at In-N-Out. I should say reminiscent of my days at In-N-Out, where there was a plan that had been followed since 1948, all the way into the 80s when I worked there and beyond, me working and then leaving there. And it's that plan that allows you to compete, as well as competing in a market where most people might think it's saturated. I mean, thinking of In-N-Out Burger, right? You get a hamburger almost on every corner in the city where there's restaurants, but yet In-N-Out Burger has managed to be one of the most successful privately held restaurant groups in the country, if not the world, right? Worth 30 billion plus. So what does that say about the competition? You can put your blinders on, which is what I've said all these years, and focus on your plan, your goals, your vision for the company. Kettle One eventually surpassed the sales of Absolute, as well as took back a lot of market share from Grey Goose, all the way up until we sold 2 million cases, and we had a tender offer from Diageo for $900 million for less than half of the company. Not a bad payday, especially if you think how much competition was out there. Same thing happened when I started my tequila company. There was 1,200 other tequilas in the U.S. market at the time. And everybody thought, oh, you're crazy. What are you thinking? And I built a business plan around our product, around our authentic partners in Mexico. We raised $12 million and we went to market and we built an evaluation of over $45 million in 10 years. Okay. Had we worried about the competition, that would have never got off the ground. Kettle One would have never became what they became. And therefore creating all those jobs would have never existed. Right. And now Kettle One is an iconic brand. Azuñia Tequila still out there in the market. I haven't been there for 8 years. So don't worry about the competition. Stay focused. Put the blinders on. Just like, think about that racehorse. He's got the blinders on. He's running around the track. He's not being distracted by what's happening around him. He's focused on the finish line. And that's what I want people to think about when it comes to adversity and competition. Part of that, point number one, accepting it exists. Okay? Competition and adversity exists. Once you realize that, you can welcome it when it comes your way. You know, thinking about Heidi, who not only now she's in real estate, but she is in physical fitness training. There's a lot of competition there, and there's a lot of adversity. Matter of fact, there's probably more adversity in that business. You walk into the gym, you got 2 or 3 other trainers there working with their clients. Talk about adversity. Well, you know, don't watch her. She's not doing it right. Don't do it that way, right? Everybody's got an opinion on how to do something, which creates an adverse marketplace. Don't worry about it. It exists. Overcome, move on, put the blinders on. Okay. Have an abundant mindset instead of the scarcity mindset, and neither one of those things will derail your plan. All right. Point number 2, embracing it. Embracing it. Okay. Leverage those things to your own agenda, your own business plan. Okay. Great. There's competition out there. What am I going to do differently? What am I going to do better? By embracing it and accepting it, moving on, putting on your blinders, you can use all those tools to do something better. What we did with Kettle One, literally to do it better, is if somebody wanted us to buy our product to sell on their bar, we did a taste test. So if we walked in and they're like, hey, I work for Kettle One, great, we want to carry it. Well, let me give you the taste test first. What do you mean? I want to buy it. I know, but we want to give you the taste test. And what we did is we had 3 wine glasses and we poured a little bit of Absolut in the first one, warm, a little bit of Grey Goose in the second one, warm, and a little bit of Kettle One in the third one, warm. And we had them do the swirl and sniff. Don't stick your nose in there because it'll burn it off. A little swirl and sniff. And you'll realize, hey, they're all a little bit different. Okay. Vodka by definition is odorless, colorless, tasteless. But yet here I am smelling 3 different vodkas and they all smell a little bit different. Now taste it. And if you're in the middle of your workday, we'd have them taste and spit it out just like you would in a wine tasting. And what they came to realize is that they were all a little bit different. Kettle One, not by accident, was the third one. By the time you got to the third one, your palate was already numb from the first 2 shots of vodka. And of course, it's going to be the best one you ever had, right? But we always won the taste test. We embraced the fact that there was adversity and competition, and we used it to our benefit by doing a taste test. Find ways that you can leverage the competition to benefit your business and what you're doing. And identifying that is the way that you can do something better or offer something that's not being offered currently in your business. Don't miss out on that opportunity. Don't worry about when somebody says, oh, there's a lot of competition there. Heidi, I guarantee you in your real estate career, if you work your plan just like you have with your fitness company, you will stand out and the competition will tremble when you walk in the room. Okay. And I don't say that lightly because I know what the competition looks like having been in the market now for 7 months. Okay. You're a prime to succeed in that business. Then point number 3 is overcoming challenges. Okay. Obviously, with adversity and competition, there will be challenges. And we've said this a lot on these calls. Life is tough. Easy is not guaranteed. Okay. Which means you're going to work hard. Things will be hard. There will be challenges. By understanding that, just like the other items, you will accept them, overcome them, and move on. And hopefully you learn from them. Okay. But we don't want the challenges to defeat us. And sometimes those challenges will sneak up on us in ways that we don't necessarily consider them challenges. As an example, the patience it takes to wait for your business to grow. The patience it takes for your business to grow. I'll lean into the real estate thing again because that's a hot topic for me these days too, right? You got your license, you got your broker, you've got some training, you're ready to go sell something or find a buyer to go buy something. But yet, nobody's calling. You don't have any listings. Month goes by, 2 months goes by. These are challenges. What do? We put on our blinders. We work the program. We make the calls. We do all the things. We network. We shake hands. We go on listing appointments for other agents. We volunteer to do open houses for other agents because you're putting in the reps. And by putting in the reps, you will be able to overcome the challenges that come your way when they come. So when you're looking at your businesses, patience can be a big part of those challenges that I'm referring to. And every business has them. That's just a nice, clean example to suggest that be prepared for them. They'll be there. There's no guarantees in life being easy. And finally, I believe the best way to combat adversity and competition in the business, besides the items that I've already outlined, is be on the offense. Be on the offense. Well, Jim, how do I do that? What does that look like? Well, let's go back to square one. You created a business plan, right? You know what your roadmap looks like because you created that business plan. You built some strategy behind it. You built some programming with it and what your business might look like. Okay. You know what your marketing is. Working that plan is being on the offense and not being derailed by all the stuff that gets thrown your way. All right. There's so many different components to real estate: buyers, sellers, commercial, residential, rental, anything that comes in under the sun, right? For sale by owner. Like, there's so many things. What does your plan look like? I know what my plan looks like. And by the way, I set a target 2 months ago after a training session that I want to sell properties 800,000 and above. Now, Jim, why that number? Why not just, well, I'll sell anything. Somebody came to me, I'm happy to work with them. But when I look at my ideal business plan, the reason why I looked at that is because I worked into that. What does the average commission look like? What's the average amount of time that you put behind a sale or a purchase? What do those buyers look like? What are my specialties? Who am I going to resonate with? Okay. And most importantly for me in this decision was, what kind of time am I going to allocate to real estate and then hit my financial goal? I don't have, based on my plans, enough time to go sell, a dozen $400,000 houses. I'd rather sell one at 800 than two at 4, right? So I built a plan around that. Right now, it's May 20th. My average sale is $1.1 million. And I'm on my 6th deal as of an hour ago. Okay. So I'm exceeding what my goals are. Right. And that's what I mean. Understand what your challenges are, overcome them, and be on the offense by having a plan and working that plan. You will manifest it and it will come your way. All right. Had I not decided what my number was, I wouldn't know what I was going after, and I wouldn't know the phone calls to make, the hands to shake, and the places that I want to go sell, right? I'd be all over the place. So be on the offense with your business. It won't fail you. So adversity, competition, wear your blinders, stay focused. Accept it because it exists. Embrace it. Mistakes happen. Overcome your challenges, okay? Through your plans, through your roadmap, through your business model, and be on the offense. All right, Rod, weigh in on that, and then I'm going to shift gears. We had a member ask, when is the right time to hire employees? I did some quick homework there, jotted down some notes, so I'll jump into that.
All right. Well, first, I have to say that you stole a portion of my talk from Thursday. We're on the same page, doing the same stuff. I mean, this is the way business works. And I guess that's just to say what we do is on point.
Yeah.
Right. if I'm teaching a message, you're teaching a message, Rachel's teaching a message, it's going to be on point with real world, real life examples. And I absolutely love it. The one thing I will add to this is that patience factor, especially in real estate, in fact, in sales in general, in most sales. The patience factor is key because a lot of people, they get down, right? They're not seeing, they want reward. They want to see it right now. They want instant gratification. And patience is key to success. And so if you just look at what you're doing, again, if you're working a plan, if you look at everything you're doing as a giant funnel, you're putting in the reps and that's going into a funnel. You're meeting new people, that's going into a funnel. You're dropping off business cards, you're placing stuff places, you're putting yourself places, that's going into a funnel. And that funnel is going to funnel down and things are going to start coming out of the bottom of it. And once you get a flow going, and that's what we want in business, we want to hit a stride, right? Once the funnel is going, it keeps going. As long as you keep feeding the top, stuff keeps coming out of the bottom. You just have to be patient for that first few drips to come out of the bottom. And Jim, with your real estate business, it's already coming out, right?
Oh yeah.
But that goes back to relationships you established even before you were a realtor, right? So even that was going into your funnel. Your brand is your funnel. So Heidi, what you're doing with fitness is part of your brand. It's part of your funnel for real estate. It's all part of it. So patience, I think, is always overlooked, especially in our society. People want instant results. And if we start looking at our business plans and focusing on that 5 year instead of what am I going to do in 30, 60 days, what's a quarter look like, what am I going to look like at the end of the year, and say, hey, what's it going to look like in 5? And let's keep those goals in front of our mind, in front of our face, because those are the big numbers. That's going to help with our mindset. So great reminders, Jim. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And I've got some thoughts too on the question we had from one of the members with employees, but thought it was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. All right. So the question was, when is the right time to hire employees? The reality is when your workload or business exceeds the capacity, your current capacity of whoever you have working there, right? When you can't do any more. And typically when that starts flushing out, you're missing deadlines, you're losing customers, you're losing money, etc. I'm not quick to say, hey, let's hire another employee, because what I really like to look at is, am I working at my capacity? Is my team working at their capacity? And I don't mean overworking them either, or exceeding what they signed up for, but are people really being efficient? So the first thing I look at is efficiencies in my business. Okay. I look at training in my business to make sure that all the tools are there, because it might not be I need more help or more bodies. It might just be efficiencies in training. Another indicator might be if you're turning down work. Now, I don't know what this person that asked has several businesses, so I'm not sure what business they were looking at. But if you're turning down work because you've looked at efficiencies, you're at capacity, and you can't do any more work, well, then I would weigh back against your business plan. Okay, if we're going to pick up more work, are we going to hit the numbers, or how much more work do we have to pick up to continue moving forward? Chances are you'll take a little dip in finances because you're going to add the employee, then you have to catch the work back up. But you should already know what those numbers look like, right? Overworked employees. That's a reason for doing it. But God, I hope that anybody that's in this group asking that question has enough business tenacity and has built a business plan that their employees aren't overworked. We understand how important the soft skills are. And so that is a soft skill of not overworking your employees, right? It's an understanding, because overworked employees are going to burn out, you're going to lose them, and then you're going to waste all that money retraining somebody new after trying to find them, hiring them. So you're going to lose a year and a half of wages, kind of average, if you've got to replace somebody. So don't overwork them, as well as be really careful about increasing their workload. All right. Now, some employees, they might raise their hand and say, yeah, I can do more. But can they? Can they do it efficiently? Right? So you have to look at workload and the personality and what they're doing. And by the way, as a business owner, I'm going to work every position in my business so I understand what it takes, so that when I hire employees and I train employees, I've already done it. So I know how much work they can do and what they should be capable of doing if I've hired the right person, right? I think UPS would serve themselves greatly if they utilize Rod as their test model. They could probably trim the staff by, I don't know, 9 employees, Rod.
Uh, you still
Maybe.
got to have warm bodies to move items. So, but the right
Right.
ones is critical.
Another indicator of potentially needing to hire somebody is if you're declining in your customer service. If again, we're looking at a soft skill. If you're not able to provide top-notch service for your customers, consumers, then you may look at hiring somebody because of that. So right now we're looking at, are you turning down work? Are you overworking your employees? Is there an increased workload? Do we have declining customer service? And then the last thing, which is probably the most critical, is are we losing customers because we don't have enough people? I've got two. Well, one was a member and another one wasn't of Yes, that have they created businesses up here in Montana. They both have a really big workload, right? And I know one of them, he's at a point where he's hired a couple employees and he's growing in that. And I think the other person who's still a member, I think he's probably pretty close to being ready to hire an employee so that he can deliver on all the other areas, right? And not have to turn work down. But most importantly, focusing on that customer service so you have customer retention, right? And so there's a fine line. And I think the person that asked this question is probably right at that fine line of, I'm maxed out, but I'm not sure I can pay for somebody to do it. So, you've got to look at your business plan and be prepared to bite the bullet. And this gets overlooked a lot. And that is making an investment in your company. And that investment oftentimes is a financial investment so that you have the resources to pay people to do the job you need them to do so that you can grow. The most disgusting thing I saw in business was probably during COVID, when you've got business owners laying people off because of COVID, but yet they're still buying their Mercedes and their Lambos and their nice houses or going on vacation. Hey, I know it's COVID, but I'm down in Cabo partying. Well, look, man, how about you not buy all that stuff and put your money back in your company and keep your employees around, right? So as an owner, you need to look at, is it time that I invest more money into my business so that I can have the right employees and grow and give good customer service, create great products or great labor, whatever that looks like. And oftentimes, if you're a good entrepreneur, it's going to come at a cost to you personally, but it's worth the investment. Your business will grow. You'll have happier customers. You're creating jobs, right? You're growing your business. Hopefully with your business plan that you've already created, you're hitting the marks where you need to hit them because you've already forecasted what that looks like. If you don't have a plan, start there. So, Rod, you said you had a few things on this?
Yeah, I want to weigh in on that real quick. And if you're it's one thing if you're on a growth curve and you already have employees because you know what having employees means. Because doing payroll and the accounting, the taxes, the workers' comp, and every state's different. There's a lot that goes into it. So if you're just contemplating, do I hire employees for the first time? What I would say is, number one, be cautious. You need to understand that it's all the things that you mentioned, Jim, with customer service and losing business and all that. But remember, it's going to cost more when you bring an employee on. It's going to cost more than what you're paying yourself, right? It's not just an hourly wage. There's a lot more that stacks onto that. And number two, when you bring on employees, you need to be educated on the liabilities that those employees bring to you and your business. You need to be so up on HR issues, what you can and can't ask when you interview, how you can put people on a trial period, what you can and can't do there, how you can talk to them, how you can reprimand them. There are so many things you better be up on before you actually jump. And so the next thing I would say is and I don't know what the market area is where this member is, but if they have a temporary service, like up here in Kalispell, we have LC Staffing, where you don't have to do all the paperwork and the payroll and all that. You can go in and have someone else hire those people, and you basically get them like day laborers. And you can do that. And especially if you don't know if your growth curve is going to continue. If it's just seasonal help you need, it may be more beneficial to go to a contract labor source and bring that labor in so that they have all the headaches. They take the liability. You just have to take good care of them. And then you can hire from that pool. If you find some good ones, eventually they've got a contract with the staffing service, but you can pull out of that pool. And that way they're already trained and they've been paid at a minimum amount that didn't cost the business. So look at all your options, especially if you're just on that initial growth curve. But if you're thinking about hiring, it's time to start educating yourself on HR issues, because it can sink you if you hire the wrong person, if you handle them the wrong way. And hiring means firing. So put that out right now. If you bring someone on, you better be just like your business plan should have, your escape clause. What's your exit strategy? When you hire that person, are you prepared to say, I don't need you anymore? You want to hire the people from church and give them the best thing. Be upfront and honest and say, look, I don't know how long this work's going to last, but it's hard to fire people. Even in bad times, when it's up to the company and the business, it's hard to let people go. So it's a whole new emotional arena that you jump into with employees. So just prepare yourself.
Well, we're talking about adversity and competition. So there you go. Look, we're going to keep it down and dirty. Heidi, you're here live. So I want to ask you, is there anything that we can address for you, want to talk about, bring up? Or are you just happy to be alive?
To be alive. Of course, I'm happy to be alive.
I know you are.
Oh, I'm doing good, doing great. There's just more time in the day. Yeah, it's good. It's just it's a lot of checking boxes and doing the things, following the system and following the plan.
Yeah.
So and I'm doing it. So I appreciate these coaching calls. They're tremendous. So thank you.
Heidi, just a compliment. I've seen a lot of growth in you. A lot of exciting things since you've been a member here. And it's not an accolade for the group. It's an accolade for your tenacity and willingness to kind of follow a plan and be consistent and be patient for your businesses. You've established yourself in a new city. You've established some relationships. You're building clients out there. You're maintaining clients back in your own old hometown.
Yeah.
I see when you come back to town here. And now you're growing a new business. And I know that your plans are to follow a plan. Literally, right? So I want to compliment you on that. If for no other reason than your consistency to be the best you can be. I have a business coach. I have a fitness coach, and we all need somebody to help us get along a little bit further, right? And we get to lean on each other in here too. So well done for being here.
Thank you. No, and it's just like fitness, it takes, like you talked about tonight, doing the reps. To build a body that you have, complete pride in, it takes consistency and adherence. And all day when I'm working with my clients, I'm leading horses to water. And some of the horses drink the water, but a lot of them just skirt the water.
Yep.
Yep. But you're like, here's the water, drink the water.
Yeah, and you're like, why is that horse not drinking the water? He's gonna get colic.
How many grams of protein did you get in your days this week? I don't know. Well, okay. How are your workouts? How much water did you drink? How much sleep did you get?
Yeah.
Basic things.
Yep.
Not able to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
right.
I'm willing to show up. I'm willing to show up by the grace of God. So thanks. Not
Good
perfect,
job.
but I keep trying.
None of us are.
Yeah.
None of us are. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap. I got my wonderful other partner here that I've spent zero time with since she got here. Rod, any closing thoughts?
No, I appreciate everyone who shows up, number one, and who follows up by watching these after.
Yep.
And your input is invaluable to us. This is why we do what we do. So we just appreciate you for being on board and asking the hard questions.
And by the way, to your point, Rod, I love when somebody can't make it, but they sent us a question that's important and relevant, and we're able to address here and give some input on that. So keep them coming. It shows that you care. It shows that you want to learn. It shows that you are watching these afterwards, and these become a library of information down the road. You know, you could go back and watch any one of these videos, and there's titles for all of them. If you're struggling in your business, and go back and listen to that. You know, they're short, they're informative, and you know, anyways. All right, look, we're at Montana Camp starting tomorrow here in Kalispell, Montana. Rod and I and Rachel will be speaking on Thursday, all different topics. So anyways, I'm looking forward to that. Rod, I'm looking forward.
I am as well. I'm fired up.
Yeah, yep, I love it. So, all right, well, if no other things, let's wrap it up and see everybody soon. Good to see you, Heidi.
All right.
Yeah, good to
Good
see you.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.